And now, the international Vienna for everyone. And now, the international
How's it
Vienna
going?
for everyone.
Good.
Good?
Yeah,
How are you feeling about this?
it's very nice. We opened a week ago, and I'm very glad we already had the opening event, which is something I had in mind for a while, and so it's good that it's done and it went well. People were happy to come, so very good.
Were there too many people visiting already?
Quite a bit, yeah. I think the space would be okay for 20 people, and we had, I think, a bit south to 40 coming, so yeah, it was a bit crowded.
What brought you to open this?
So it's actually quite an interesting story. I initially signed a lease for this space with the idea of opening a small concert salon. I had met this man who's now my friend, who's called Albert Franz, who's a concert pianist. And so we had this idea to find a space and open a small salon where we could host classical music concerts, but like in a very intimate setting. And after doing some market research, I realized it's maybe not the best time to do that, and we needed quite some funding to make it work, so we postponed that. And well, I already signed a lease, so I needed to find another idea of what to do with the space. And I was always interested in how to get people to meet each other.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do something that is not too hard, or like that doesn't interfere with many people's life, and that they can join easily. And because most people are working, right, most of our time is spent working, I opened a space that is a co-working space or a shared workspace, so that you can just come, do the work you would normally do, and meet the people who are coming at the same time as you.
Oh, what does someone need to bring with them?
Nothing, I guess. Depends on your job. But I would guess most people...
If I'm a carpenter, I know I have to bring a chainsaw and a lot of things. But I mean, if I work from my laptop only...
just bring your laptop. I think you just have to bring your laptop and be ready to meet the people who are coming here. The idea is really to meet the people. It's a small space. Probably most of the time there's a maximum of 10 people at the same time. So it's really meant to be a space where people come with the idea of meeting others in mind.
And how do you plan, because the space is so small, and if I want to come here, and it's only up to 10 people maximum, and definitely the people that should come here, because it's so limited, and what people's going to be here? How do I know who's going to be here? Or do I know who's going to be here? Do I have to call every day, like who's there today? And is this guy I don't like, or is this guy I like, or what's going?
Yeah, that's actually the small twist with the space. So it's actually called O Space. I'm building this online platform where you are building your profile. So you say, okay, I have experience in this field, and maybe I want to meet a client, or I want to meet an associate. And you can say, I want to meet someone who's in the field of marketing, design, whatever. And whenever you book the space, the other people are going to be able to see, okay, Alion is coming on that day. And so they know, okay, I want to meet someone who's doing journalism. And so they can say, okay, I'm going to book the same day and just come to meet you at the same time.
That's perfect, actually. I think many people, also people who attend the event, and they hope to go to events so they can network. However, it's very blind networking. You don't know what to expect, and you don't know how to approach. You haven't done any research on who's going to be there. But if I know that this person is going to be here today, and maybe I prepare myself better because I want to talk to them about either to pitch them something, or ask or offer them something, who knows.
Yeah.
And this helps a lot, having some information, maybe at least the basic thing, like who you are, what do you do, what are your interests, right?
Yeah, I want to create something that's very like organic, like that doesn't, you don't have to commit to go to certain events or anything. It becomes sort of the way you work. You just come to a space and you know you're going to meet some people, right? And it's not, you don't have to make sure, okay, on that night there's this event that I need to go to because otherwise I'm not going to meet the right people. So it's something that's more, there's no subscription. So it's really just whenever you have time, whenever someone's interesting is coming, then you can just come at the same time.
Wait, there's no subscription. Does it mean that What does it mean?
You don't.
How do I pay for this?
So every time you book the space, you just pay for the number of hours you're going to spend here.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Then do I have a limit up to how many times per day can I book it, or per week, or no?
No, it's just whenever you have time, whenever you feel like the space is what you need to work or network, then you should book it.
This is the space, right?
Yeah, we're in here.
I like the color.
Thanks.
The brown one. Brown. It is brown, yeah.
Yeah, I actually took the color of the year from Pantone of 2025. So it's called, I think, Mocha Mousse, something like that.
Interesting. And the paintings, did you do them?
No, I didn't. But it's actually the second idea I had with the space is I'm really into tech and business, but also really like culture. And so I met this Russian painter who's now giving me painting lessons. And so I told her, well, maybe you want to use the space to just expose your paintings. So she does. And so they're here for a few months. And probably after that, either she will have new paintings to expose, or maybe I will find someone else to replace them with.
Okay. And going back to the space, can I find a way to, yes. If I just walk in, is there anything you can do for me to find me a table if there is available, or it has only to be booked online before? So you're prepared, and so we see who's there.
Well, the concept is built around flexibility. So the normal way to do it per se is to book online, but if you come in this space, then you're more than welcome to stay.
I see the coffee machine there. Does it work?
It works, and it's included in the price. So whenever you come here, the idea is that you just pay for the time you spend here. Any amenities or services that are here, there's a piano. You can use anything you want. Piano is more for events, I guess, that if people are working here and you start playing.
Events? What do you mean?
Yeah, so you can book the space to host your events. The idea is that during the day, the space is used for co-working, and then starting from 6, it would be open for events, and on the weekend as well.
What if I have an all-day workshop?
This is also something we can do, but probably you will have to book in advance, so we can tell people the space is going to be
You can block
booked.
the calendar. Here you're gonna put we can put a projector if we have, or
That's the idea, yeah.
Or
probably
it's
it's going to be added at some point. It's not there yet, but it's one of the things we want to add to the space.
Cool. How long have you been in Vienna for?
I've been here now a year and a half.
Why?
That's a good question. I moved here because I like the architecture and classical music. I didn't really have an agenda coming here. I had lived so I'm from France. Before coming here, I had lived in the Netherlands. And
I like how you say I'm from France, because saying I'm French sounds different. It does sound different when you say I'm French,
Really?
and then when you say I'm French, it's like we heard it more from people. I'm French and I don't care about you.
I mean, I could have said that as well. I believe I'm French, in the good and the bad ways. But yeah, most of the time say I'm from France.
Okay.
French is, I don't know, I don't have anything against saying I'm French. What is the main difference you feel?
French has become it's become a lot of, when you say that, he's French. So also covers things that it's a stereotype now. It's not just a nationality when you say French. It's about the things that you are supposed to do, or is expected from you. I was watching a video, one of this, what does it mean to be French? And obviously they were showing a super high stereotype of a person being extremely impolite to everyone else around them. And at least in Europe, when you say they're French, they don't, they don't speak English, they're French, this kind of French. I mean, that's what people say, that's what the stereotype is
I guess
about.
Some stereotypes.
And you just distance it yourself from it. I'm not French, I'm from France, I have a France passport, but I'm not French.
True, but I'm gonna rant a lot. So I'm still French.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
What was I saying? Yeah, so I
About your
come
journey.
from France. I lived for a few years in the Netherlands and then Finland. And after finishing my studies, I went back to France. After spending 6 months there, I realized I preferred living in another country. And so I just had to find somewhere. And I think I decided within a month, I decided I wanted to move. I found a flat here and I just moved.
You found the flat here from France?
Yeah, I just found
We live here and it's very hard for us to find flats.
I mean, I found one online first, which I stayed in for almost a year. Then I found one through like the Austrian network.
All right, you should teach me that. How did you do that? But why Vienna?
I mean, it's mainly because of classical music and architecture, like I said.
That's how much you're passionate about it?
I mean, it makes me happy to roam the streets and just see the nice buildings. And then about music is something I have done for quite a while and that I enjoy a lot. It's never been something I had envisioned to be a big part of my life. For example, I don't think I would be a musician or something like this. But I don't know, I really like culture in general and I think Vienna is a good place for that.
Reminds me of this. Have you watched the movie Liberal Arts?
I haven't, no.
It is about, I would say it's not about classical music, but it's with classical music as well. It's a modern movie.
Okay.
And there's this guy who suddenly discovers how amazing it is walking around the city listening to classical music. I think you'd like that. You should check it out.
I will watch.
It's from 2012.
Okay.
When you look for it.
Liberal Arts.
Liberal Arts, yeah.
Okay.
And you lived in Finland and Netherlands.
Yeah.
And France, of course.
Quite some time.
And now Austria. So can you compare those things to each other?
On what?
Pros and cons, not many, or maybe just start with Austria and the rest of them, since now you're already here.
Okay, what are the pros and cons of living in Austria?
Compared to where you lived before. Why shouldn't I go to live to France now? By the
To
coast?
Austria.
Why shouldn't I leave Austria, or why should I leave Austria?
I mean, compared to Finland, it's warmer. That's one of the...
This is warm?
I mean, yeah, compared to Finland.
Okay.
But other than that, I would say culture, but that's one of the reasons I moved here. So, I mean, it's a specific kind. If you want something that's quite structured, where you have institutions that promote culture, I think Austria is a great place. If you want something a bit more, how to call it, organic, or that is just a place where people live a lot, then I would say France is good for this. The Netherlands, I was there during COVID. So I was at university. I knew my roommates quite a lot, but I haven't experienced so much of the city and everything there. So for this, I wouldn't know exactly.
Okay. What are your plans then?
Here?
Here.
Do I stay or do I go?
No, just in general.
Well,
What do you do? What is your day-to-day? What are your long-term goals here? Don't tell us your secrets.
All right. So apart from opening
you just opened the
space,
space, which is great.
So obviously I'm not living right now, right?
But you mentioned when you opened the space, you mentioned that you're an entrepreneur. What does it mean?
So I have started a company back in France with 2 of my co-founders. So I'm still working on this. I've been working on it for 2 years and now it's starting to grow. So it leaves me a bit of time to take care of the space and opening something new that is a bit more personal. I think I will just continue doing my projects. I've always enjoyed doing things and working on one thing has never been my strength. I always liked just jumping from different projects. So this is something I like to do a lot. And I think as long as I am passionate about something, that's what I do. So I'm going to continue doing that.
Will you, besides painting and walking around the city, listen to classical music
I don't
and
have so
opening a
much-
space?
Yeah, I don't have so much time walking around the city anymore. That's something I miss.
It's cold.
But it's cold
True.
also. Maybe that's the reason. But so I enjoy, for example, going to the opera. So now I met my girlfriend here in Austria. She's an opera singer, so we do go to the opera, to concerts sometimes. I was at the ball yesterday night. That was really good. It's always centered about.
Which ball did you go to?
It was at Hofburg. It was the Vienna Economy Ball. It was fine. I'm not sure it was the best, but have you heard of it?
No, I keep hearing about, and I don't understand how many. I don't know how many balls are in Vienna.
Oh,
Too many?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
So
probably,
it's like each thing has their own ball.
I think you can find a ball for pretty much anything. I think one of that is known is the coffee shop ball. I guess it's people who own coffee shops. They have They organize a ball every year,
Okay.
and it's open to anyone. It's always organized by one association or something, and most of them are open. You can buy tickets and just join. If
What do you do there? I've never been to a ball.
So
I just see these videos where people dress well and dance well.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
It's people
So it's a
coming-
dancing night.
It's dancing.
So it's a disco.
It's a disco, depending on which ball you attend. I saw an article on your. The
Yes, there will
International-
be a ball about
With,
with people
sweatpants, right?
Sweatpants.
Yeah.
It's first time.
So I have no idea what kind of music will be there. I'm guessing it's not going to
Hip-hop,
be the most.
probably.
Maybe.
So then why do they keep calling this? I'm not saying about this one. If it's not everyone dressed classical and dresses and tuxedos and plays classical music and dance false, but then they change everything and still call it a ball, is it still a ball?
I'm actually not sure what defines the ball. I guess dancing must be part of it. But if you.
Because if it doesn't have any of the classical characteristics to it, or most of them, it's just a disco. We just move this dancing place from disco to another place that we turn into a disco.
I mean, it still makes
We don't
sense,
respect the music, we don't respect the dressing, we don't respect the dancing, the classical dancing. What do we got?
I'm not the one organizing them.
I know. I'm just saying. Since you've been there, I thought you have your impression.
I mean, the one I went to, it was still classical, although not as traditional as I would have expected for one that's hosted in Hofburg. But only because they didn't have an orchestra playing, and I felt like it wasn't that well organized in the sense that. So the main room was where you had to book a table in order to be able to see the opening dance and the presentation and concerts. But this is only for the people who had booked a table, and then everyone else is in the rooms on the outside, and they put a TV where it's just filmed and put on the TV outside.
Okay.
But you don't hear the sound, so you hear on the outside of the room looking at the TV. Of the people just starting the show on the other side, and the sound is nowhere to be heard. So that wasn't the best, and it was opened with more like a pop song, which, I mean, I like pop, but it's just I go to a ball, I expect.
Yes,
just
that's
something
what
different.
I meant. Yeah.
So it was still nice. People are still dressed up, and they still waltz, and there was like a jazz space where there was a band and people dancing. There was also more like disco or electronic music room. So it's quite diverse actually. I think if you live in Vienna, it's nice to go sometimes to balls just to have a look.
They had protests last year, I think, for many balls. They do it every year. I think they protest
haven't heard
about
of
balls. Some people are not okay with it, saying it's too much money spent on nothing.
But is it publicly funded? I don't think so, right?
I mean, tickets are expensive.
Yeah, but if it's private, then it's private people paying tickets, and if the
Yes.
venue is a historical building, it goes to.
I don't know how it works. I don't know why exactly they protest, and I think some of them don't even know why they
Okay,
protest.
I haven't heard of it.
It's like the climate demonstration. The people who would
Okay.
glue themselves on the street, I think they had no idea what they're really against. But this year, I think, was the first year. I think we talked about this already. That it was the first year that Richard Lugner, the Austrian millionaire, wasn't in the ball. Because he died last year, and it was a tradition that he would take a very famous celebrity to the ball every year. But I think it was the ball that is done to at the opera.
Okay, yeah, I think this is the most known one.
And he would go there with a celebrity. He had Kim Kardashian there. He had Jane Fonda. I don't remember who else he had there, but it was a tradition. And then he died very old. I think he was 90 something, 91 or 90. Died last year, and it was almost very funny that he would go there every year with a new person that he would get for this.
Yeah, had not heard of him before.
I mean, are these little urban traditions or local traditions that some people enjoy, some don't, some think it's a waste of money because money should go somewhere else, and then this just brings to a huge debate that confronts capitalism and communism, which is a different topic. But I mean, it's a tradition.
It is.
It's hard to get rid of them.
If you wanted to get rid of them.
If you want to get rid of them, yeah. How you doing? How you hanging around with German?
People speaking German? I don't speak German yet, unfortunately. Not that much, actually. I know some people who speak German. Obviously, when I'm with them, they speak English so that I can understand. But yeah, I would say some. But maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me not making the effort or not succeeding at meeting Austrian people. But I feel like it's not either easy or I'm just not in the right places to meet them. Maybe I just go to events where a lot of internationals go.
Yeah. French language sounds easy.
To learn?
To learn.
I guess it's not.
Because it's a Latin language.
Yeah. I think.
And it's like it makes sense. At least to us.
To me, it makes sense.
To you, of course. I don't know what to say if I wasn't from Europe, if it would make sense. But definitely, if you're from Europe, you heard Italian, you heard Spanish, you heard French, and because there are similarities to their words. At some point, if you pay attention, you might catch a word or two in French, and then if you really put yourself to it, you'd probably learn French.
I guess so.
For a basic conversation level in 6 months. What do you think?
Wow. I mean, probably. You go live in France, you're going to learn quite fast. I think it's always, I guess it's the same in German. Having the basis is not too hard. Then it's, even for native people, there's always going to be rules that are very complicated and you're going to have to study it a lot in order to grasp every single thing. But yeah, basic conversation. I mean, I'm saying this, but I've been living here a year and a half. I still don't speak German.
It's hard. It's not like French. It's hard to get to learn German just on the street, just by expecting to meet people and learn German like that, or by listening. Still at this point, 4 years later, I learned German because I had to. So I had to go to the university in German. I learned German. Still to this point, if I don't know that someone is talking to me in German, I still can't catch it. So if I'm looking on the other side and someone is saying something to me, I wouldn't catch it if I don't know that someone is going to talk to me or is talking to me at that moment. It doesn't ring my bells like that. Like would, for example, if someone speak in English, hey, where are you going that way? If someone just says to me, unless they yell, which they do a lot here, but it's still not a catchy.
But that's not a matter of understanding, right? It's just a matter of having the reflex of thinking, okay, that's addressed to me.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen to me in other languages that I speak. That's why I'm comparing it. It doesn't happen in English, doesn't happen in Italian, and in German. If you just don't do this to me, hey, I'm talking to you in German, then I wouldn't get it.
Okay, interesting.
It's a tough language, and it's even more difficult to make some people understand that it's a tough language.
Make people understand it. People don't understand it's a tough language.
Some people who have German as their native language don't know that it is a tough language to learn, especially as an adult. If you move to Austria as an adult, you've been here 1 year, you said, and still.
But I haven't made the effort. Like, I'm pretty sure that if I would have tried, I think I could also have taken lessons here. But it's just time consuming. And the thing is, people are nice enough to speak English here to you. So most of the time, the only times I'm having troubles is when the post is calling me to tell me they have a package, and I have no idea how to tell them, okay, I'm coming. I mean, if I'm just coming, it's fine. But if I have to schedule, okay, I'm going to be here at that time, then that's when I get stuck.
Yes, that's the thing. When you get to, everyone is nice. Of course, they speak to you in English. If you go to a coffee shop, if you go to a bar, it's no problem. But you're lucky enough not to have to deal with a lot of public institution who would never speak English to you, because you don't need a visa. Now you're gonna have to deal with some business stuff here.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be fun. And actually, we should have done this podcast after you finish your paperwork.
I would have a lot of things to tell about.
Yes. Yeah, but other than that, you're right. It's the level of culture is high, and everywhere you walk is like a museum.
Yeah, right. I think that's the main reason why I think Vienna is great. When I was living in other places, you have to make the effort to go find the things that are interesting to see, right? And you cannot just walk. I mean, Paris is nice. Paris, you would have a lot of things to see as well.
Paris is beautiful.
But Vienna is just a much more approachable city than Paris, I would say.
It's smaller. Yeah. It's also much smaller.
It's way smaller. Yeah, it feels like a town.
Yeah.
But with the sort of spirit of a historical city, so it's nice. I like it.
You're not from Paris, right?
I'm not from Paris, no.
That's why you didn't say I'm French.
Are people from Paris more likely to say
I think it's
French?
more the stereotype is more focused on people from Paris.
And I'm from Brittany, and so Brittany is the northwest region of France.
Bretagne, right?
Bretagne, yeah. And well, historically we're a different country, and there's still nowadays quite a strong independentist spirit in the region. So it's maybe it has a bit to do with that. Although I've learned the language at school for 15 years. It's called Breton, the regional language. Now
Wait, what language?
Breton.
It's not English, it's not French?
It's in between.
Really?
Yeah. It's not that used anymore. All the signs, if you go to Rennes, which is the capital of Bretagne, all the signs are going to be in French and in Breton. And there's still some schools I think there's still some that are 100% taught in Breton until probably middle school. So there's some, a strong will to keep the language alive, but in reality it's not that used anymore.
How does it sound?
How does it sound?
Can you say something?
I can. So if you want to say, hi, my name is Primaël, it's Des maths, mon nom est Primaël.
It does sound like French.
Does it?
100%.
Perhaps. I think...
So you won. French won.
I'm not sure about that. I think most people who are for Bretagne's independence would say we kind of lost.
So the region still is... still wants independence, or
it's not the region. It's some people who feel strongly.
But independence from what? Because the name Britain is Britain. It's Britain.
Yeah.
So they want to be part of the UK?
No, they want to be a country.
I don't get it.
How
big is it?
How many people live there? I think I would guess around 400,000, maybe 500,000. So
Okay, but
it's not big. I mean,
well,
it's been part
big
of France
enough. There are countries that are smaller than that, except I'm not talking about countries like Vatican because it's a different story. But it's big enough to be a country. It's not that problem. But why do they want to be independent if they were created from? Were they created from Britain invasion or something?
It used to be a country before being part of France. I think it used to be a rather strong country, actually.
It used to be an independent country.
Yeah, it used to be an
Okay.
independent country. And so I think it's 800 years ago, it got merged with France. And basically, it was like a strong, competition to the King of France. So they really tamed the nationalist Britain people at the time, and I guess it's just some people feel like it would still be better. I personally don't think Bretagne being an independent country leads to anything, but
I mean, how would they survive? They cannot produce.
well, back
France.
at the time, Bretagne was really rich because it was producing a lot of salt, and at the time, salt is like very important. It's the way you keep food going bad. And so I guess that's how they had a lot of power. Nowadays, I don't think if you have salt, you do anything.
Not just that, but then you cannot support the whole country just by salt anymore because it's not, the population has grown so much. If 400 years ago, maybe there were 10,000 people, but
I wonder, probably it was already, I don't have the numbers in mind.
yeah. I don't know, seems difficult to just detach the country like that.
Nowadays.
You can maybe have some policies on some stuff and to be independent at some point, like the states in the US, that yes, within the state there are some policies and regulations, but then there's an overall government for bigger stuff, for big picture. But how are they going to survive? All right, fine, you're going to be an independent country, go ahead. We're not going to supply you anything anymore.
I don't know how it would work, but it's not like a...
I'm sure people would not know we want to go back to being part of France. If France just suddenly stops supplying them with everything.
I don't think nowadays there would be a majority for Bretagne to be independent. But it's not like a isolated case, right? They had... we also have Corsica in France, which is quite independentist. I mean, it's not that strong. Like, it's still... France is still like one country, but it's places where some people do want some independence. And
Corsica is where Napoleon Bonaparte was born, right?
It is. So, and it's an island. I have never been there, so I don't know how it is. But yeah, my guess is that people feel like they have a sort of different identity, and it makes sense for them to be independent. But I think...
I agree. I like that they preserve the language, the identity. And I also agree that they have the right to ask to be independent. However, I just think that it's not realistic anymore and they couldn't survive. Because imagine if France says, sure, you're independent, but we're going to put you sanctions. You're not going to be able to import anything anymore from us unless you pay 100% tax.
But then that's not real independence. Like, why would France impose such a thing? Like the idea...
They want to, it's their border. And now everything that goes out to us from, they can say that everything that goes to Bretagne, it's going to be 100% taxed.
I mean, it does depend on, like, there's a lot of subtle things, but if Bretagne, let's say, I didn't expect to have a conversation on...
We don't have to go on, it's just having a conversation.
But, like, just hypothetically, if Bretagne is separated from France, but is still in the EU, France doesn't have any way to impose anything like that. But it's highly hypothetical. I don't think there's any... It's not even that much of a question. I was just talking about it because I had studied it a long time.
Yeah, no, but it's interesting anyway, because I've been to Bretagne and I find it even more interesting now that you said this, and I had no idea they spoke a different... that you consider it a different language, because to me it still sounded French.
Well, it's very different. Like, I think you would not... There's probably a few words that are common, but... Like, common between the languages, but otherwise you don't understand. Like, I can barely speak Breton anymore, although my So I studied math in Breton until high school, and then we switched to French. I studied history until graduating high school in Breton. So I imagine I used to be able to speak the language quite well, but now it's just knowing French, it doesn't allow me to speak Breton at all.
Yeah. But it's so beautiful there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think it's paradise.
Really?
In Europe, I've never seen anything more beautiful than that.
Okay.
I visited 2 years ago. I started from Nantes. I don't know if Nantes is officially part of Bretagne.
That's part of the big fight. It's Nantes used to be the capital of Bretagne.
Okay.
And then during the partition of regions, it got put into the other one called Loire-Atlantique.
And then Rennes became the capital. Well, yeah, from Nantes, then we went to, I think we went more a bit southwest. So close to the ocean. So we went to the ocean.
Okay.
And that's not just Britain, but overall west coast of France.
Yeah.
That's France for me.
And did you go to all the castles where they make wine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we went to see an old town also in Bretagne, which was called Bath-sur-Mer. Baths on the sea, by the sea.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
All right.
It was like coming from a book. It was surreal. And the train was just passing very close to the sea, just like this Costa Azur.
Yeah.
And since that moment I want to go back there. And I will at some point, of course.
When were you there?
I was there 2023, summer of
recently.
2020. Recently, yeah.
Okay.
Quite recently. That was this afternoon by the sea. I like that this small town had only one restaurant, only one shop, only one ice cream shop, and only one very small train station, a small car parking for cars, and people would just stay there by the sea. It was a bit of closed place, closed coast, not big, and there was these old villas facing the sea. You could tell that the design wasn't very French design, and they were very old. There was this old church. I think it was from the even more than 1,000 years old. I think. I'm not sure about the year, but I remember when I read it, it was very, very, very old.
Yeah.
It was
we
amazing
have a lot
area.
of old buildings in my hometown. The entire center is like still. Probably you'd find quite a few 15th century buildings. Like we have this, in French it's called colombage. So you have the wooden crosses on the outside, and it's with how is it called? I cannot remember. But it's just the way the architecture is done. All the buildings outside are with this colored wood pieces. And the main part of the center is still like this.
Beautiful. And the weather?
I mean, when were you there?
Summer, yes, but
the
then...
Summer is normally fine, yeah.
The days were long.
Okay, yeah.
I remember, yes, this is something I remember now. I remember very well, because what we would do, I visited my cousin. My cousin lives there.
Okay.
And so we would have late lunch, like 4, and then to us that we're coming from Vienna, we thought, okay, we're just gonna have lunch and then gonna even go to a pub or something after lunch, because it's almost dinner.
Yeah.
And then we had lunch until 5-6 p.m. and then they were like, my cousin was like, all right, let's go to the beach now. Well, it's almost 6 p.m. Yeah, we got time. We can stay for 4 hours. And then the sunset was at 11 that day.
But here in Vienna is the opposite, and it's quite, like sometimes it's 4 in the afternoon and it's already night.
Yes.
Especially during winter.
But it did feel weird and good Two, to go to the beach that late after lunch and stay for a long time and have dinner at 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Sit by the sea, looking at the sunset, and then coming to my question: how could you live that?
I mean, I'm not on the coast. Rennes is like, I think, 40 minutes drive from the coast. And I don't know, I lived there 20 years. I always enjoy it every time I go back. Every time I go back, I feel like I'm missing a bit of something. But at the same time, I don't know, I just enjoy seeing other things.
Yeah.
I like changing often, I think. So I lived 2 years in Finland. I had
Helsinki?
In Helsinki, yeah. And you should go there if you like long days. In summer, it's like the entire summer is 1 day.
But is it warm? I like long days when it's warm and I can stay by the sea.
I don't
want long days and cold.
I had this conversation with a friend of mine, I think 2-3 weeks ago. To me, so it was always between 20-25 degrees during summer, which is not that high, but I've always felt so warm, like too warm actually, in Finland at that temperature. And he didn't have the same experience. So I don't know if it's just me. I would say summer in Finland is quite warm.
Yeah, but then the evening comes and then it starts getting colder, and so the 20 degrees that was 20 during the day, it's gonna go down to 10, and then you cannot easily stay outside.
I don't know. I
don't want to live like that though. It's too much.
Entire days.
Yeah. It's very exhausting.
But then you get winter to balance it out, where you don't have sun for 6 months.
Yeah, that's tough too. I was in Sweden once for a week in Stockholm, and I woke up. I remember the sunrise was at 8:15, I think. That's when we first saw the sun.
Okay.
And then sunset was at 3:40 p.m. 3:30, 3:40. And that was it for the day. Was really hard.
How long did you stay?
A week. I can't imagine leaving. That's one of the reasons why I love Vienna, because it's a good middle level of everything.
Yeah, it's true. Like one thing I told my friends when I left is that it's just too hot. In winter, you feel like you have to fight for your life anytime you have to go out and just do groceries or something. So it's just, it was too much. But there's a lot of, like in Helsinki, for example, shops are open 24/7. You can always find, I don't know why, because you can go at 3 in the morning, do your groceries, you have like a huge shop that's empty, but there's gonna be people working there and it's open, can do shopping. I'm not too sure why, but it's very convenient.
Well, because they care about people.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's also other cities, apart from the Balkans, because they really don't care about opening hours at all. It's always open, everything in the Balkans, but where I come from. But also in Germany, I remember 2 years ago, last time I was in Berlin, supermarkets were open until 10 p.m.
Okay, that's
super
nice.
Super convenient, and there was no Sunday off.
Okay.
Which Sunday off, because the opening hours, I kind of understand that here in Vienna they're not open that late. But Sunday off, that's what I don't get, because you can have your people rotate their shifts. Someone sometimes works on Sunday, someone doesn't.
Yeah.
But then before coming here, I was late because I had to go and grab something that I needed to buy because the store closed. It's Saturday today.
Yeah.
Store closed at 6.
It's the same as in France, and I find it very inconvenient.
It is inconvenient.
One thing I don't understand here in Austria is that some grocery shops are going to be open on Sunday, but they close some aisles, and it's really random.
They close what?
Some aisles. Like there's some things you cannot buy, and I have never understood
why. In First District.
But why? Do you know?
I don't know.
And it's like you could imagine, okay, maybe they don't sell alcohol or something.
That's
on Sunday,
what I thought.
But no, it's like if you want. Like you need to buy diapers or something, perhaps it's not possible.
Yeah.
I never understood.
I also don't understand. I don't know why. Maybe they don't. This shop that I think you're also talking about, the one that has 3 floors?
Yeah, but it's multiple ones. I think it's not only this one. Yeah.
Maybe they cannot afford to pay people who work on the other floors.
But it's not like it's one specific aisle in one floor that the rest is open. I
also don't
cannot
get it.
make any hypothesis.
Could be
that
some
makes
weird
sense.
stuff in the Austrian regulation that
Probably.
something you cannot sell alcohol on a Saturday after 5 or whatever. I have no idea.
But
I wouldn't be
alcohol would make
surprised if there was something like this.
Like I perhaps alcohol makes sense. Why can't you buy Q-tips on a Sunday? But you can buy champagne if you want.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know.
Plus also alcohol. Why would you prohibit alcohol on a Saturday?
But it's not.
That's the point.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm saying.
I don't think so. I think you can buy any day alcohol. And
I remember in Spain they had these things that you cannot sell alcohol. I don't know if it's like that anymore in Barcelona. You couldn't sell alcohol anymore to tourists after 11 p.m.
okay, only to tourists.
That's what I'm sure about the hour, that you couldn't sell alcohol after 11. But I don't know if it was for tourists or for everyone.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes the church.
But in Barcelona, they're complaining a lot about tourists, so that's probably it could be something. They don't want to help them get drunk.
I remember in my hometown. So my hometown is quite a student town, and so I don't know if it's still the case. I imagine it is, but there was a lot of cases of people being too drunk, and they had a lot of issues, and so they prohibited you. There was like some specific times where you could not carry alcohol on you, like in public transport or in the streets in the center. And there's some, I guess this is more normal, but there's like some parks where you cannot drink alcohol. But yeah, they really try to do something about it, because there was a big problem in my hometown, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, they did it also in Vienna recently. They did. They extended the areas where alcohol is prohibited to drink outdoors. They had first there's an area in Praterstern where you cannot drink. Now they did the I think it's called Franz Josef Platz in Floridsdorf, 21st district, where you also cannot drink alcohol in that area. Which makes sense, because some areas do really become problematic when people just sit around and hang around and drink, especially around train stations. That would make the city unsafe, because people already are skeptical about train and metros everywhere in the world, not just in Vienna. And if you notice, no matter how good the cities, train stations are always weird.
Yeah,
they're
it's true.
everywhere in the world. There's never a train station that it's like a museum, that it's like a park. It's always weird. There's always a weird person walking around there. I remember one day we were, last year in September, we were shooting something, and we had permission to shoot in this metro station here in Vienna. But before we were shooting outdoors. So there's a person who comes around our set and just stays there next to us. I mean, we had permission to shoot, but we didn't have permission to block the area. So there was nothing we could tell him, like, go away. We couldn't. But he was standing this close to everyone and while we were working. And he was doing nothing, just staring at us. And then we go away, we move to the other location, and he follows us. Far away. He comes to the train station and he stays just like that, just next to us again. So I finally tell him, can you please let us at some distance? We have a limited permission only for a few people on set, and I can't say anything that you're with us. And he literally just stepped back 5 centimeters, and I cannot deal with this person anymore. And people,
he was just a huge fan. You had a huge fan.
We didn't have any celebrities.
I don't know.
But there is always, train stations are always weird. What kind of transportation do you have? Where you come from? Where do you come from?
So back in my hometown, I would use my parents' car whenever I needed. Otherwise, I like taking the metro, which is used. Or I like to walk a lot. If I have time, I walk.
Yeah. Well, you got quite a nice place here. I want to go back to it. What's the website's name?
So it's called ospaces.org. One word, ospaces.
O, like the letter O.
The letter O.
O spaces. That's a cool name.
Thanks.
How did you come up with it?
I actually don't really know. So O stands in the beginning for open.
Uh-huh.
That's it. There's no big story behind it.
It's a cool name.
I just liked it.
O spaces. Spaces. Are you planning to open more?
Right now no, but the idea is that if it works, perhaps have people open other places using the same concept. Perhaps the platform can be the one thing that scales. The platform where people have a profile and they can know who's coming on a certain day. I'm also considering maybe existing co-working spaces want to be using this thing. I'm open to anything. Basically, I want it to be a space for me to experiment with different ideas and see what people enjoy. I wouldn't be against opening other locations if it works, but it's not like short term is not a goal to open other spaces.
Yeah. Well, you get coffee here included, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
No one has it.
Interestingly, I would have imagined that it's something you can easily provide as part of a subscription.
Well, let's see, maybe you will soon figure out why the others don't have it included.
Perhaps. If people drink too much, I have a problem.
Yeah.
Let's see. Like right now it's not meant to generate a lot of revenue. It's more like if I can just break even and have the space be used as somewhere to host cultural events and for me to meet new people, it's my main goal, like short term.
Yeah, that's a cool thing, and I like the place.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing me here.
No problem.
Today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Sure, and you're thanking me for inviting you to your place.
On the podcast, I mean.
No, I like this place, and I like the color very much.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be very cool.
And there's the painting. I think people should come just see the painting if they want.
I'm going to hang out here more often.
Awesome.
Thank you. And just want to say that we also are available on the international.at, which is our website, and we also have an app now. Did you know that?
True, yeah.
It's called International, just like that, and you download it, it's faster, and you don't have to scroll the website anymore. You can just simply open the app.
Awesome.
And every day at 6 p.m., if you want, you get the notifications for the news of the day. Some people don't want to check it all day, which makes sense. Yeah, so just make sure to follow on Instagram and LinkedIn, where we are now. It's becoming a pretty cool community as well.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to. I've heard you will be hosting events soon.
Yes, we're going to have events soon. We will definitely promote them. Probably until the next podcast, we're going to have it announced.
Awesome.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you.
Cheers.